Hi guys, it's Jo from Talking Teens. How are you today? Yesterday I made a post on Talking Teens Facebook page about how it was Friday and my teenagers were arranging my weekend for me by who needs to be where, why they need to go, where they're going, who they need to go with, how they were getting home, and all of those sorts of wonderful stuff that our teenagers impose on us. And I made a comment about how there'd be a random blood test on Sunday for any drug use. Now, that actually was a joke. I've never run a test on my children to see whether they've been, indulging in any substances. But it did actually prompt a reply from one of the Talking Teen community members, saying that it was a serious inquiry. Can you do blood tests on teenagers? And I really thank her for making that comment because, as I said, I was just joking. But teenagers and drug use is not a joke, really, is it? And it's certainly not a joke if you are concerned that your teenager is using. So I decided that I would do this video to explore that concept of, what do you do if you suspect your teenager is using drugs? So I think I did a little bit of investigating, and yes, you can actually buy these drug tests online. However, they are, from all accounts that I've been able to read, it's not advised to do so. They can be expensive for starters to purchase. They're not always accurate. They're not going to show up a lot of the drugs that teenagers can actually get hold of these days. And it really comes down to how is asking your teenager to take a drug test going to affect your relationship with your teenager? It just has red flags all over it for me. It's like, yeah. I would be really hesitant to take that as a serious option. That doesn't mean that you can't do some investigating of your own. Now, the first thing I would suggest for anyone anyone with teenagers really, is to really get to know who your teenager is. And I know that sounds silly, but, get to know what their face looks like up close. What do their eyes look like? When they're excited about something, do their eyes sparkle? Is there something that happens in their face or their demeanor that, that you can then sort of attribute to their genuine happiness about something? What are they like when they're tired, or how do they act when they're angry? Find out what is normal for your teenager, because then when they come home from parties, you can ask some pretty innocent questions, but do some pretty in-depth observation. And it's quite clear sometimes how chemically enhanced behaviour can be very different to normal behaviour. Now, I can remember coming home from parties and having had an awesome time, so I was hyped and happy and all of that sort of stuff. That can be normal, and so you need to be able to just observe what is normal and what is not. And if you start suspecting that there's some not normal behaviour, that's when you can move to the next stage, I think, of investigation. Observing things like speech, their smell after they come home from a party. If they've been drinking or smoking cigarettes, it's going to be very clear by the smell of their clothes or on their breath. Also be aware that if they smell excessively of perfume or of deodorant, that they could be trying to mask something. So again, something to keep an eye on. But I think, talking to your teenager after they get home from a party, if I don't know who's going to be going to parties, I tend to like to pick them up because there's just, even if it's 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm still happy to go and get them, because I think it's really important that you get that front line, that first exposure to how they're coming home from this party. Just as I said, just casual conversation. You don't need to go out full guns exposing, saying, have you done this and have you done that? It's just observe. The other things that you can do to try and, piece together the puzzle is be observant when you're washing their clothes. You'd be quite surprised at what teenagers can forget to take out of their pockets of their coats and their jeans and stuff like that. So, just when you're doing the washing, be a little bit more diligent in them, going through pockets and things. Are they asking for more money? Now, there are some drugs that are still quite expensive to buy. So, if your teenager is working part-time and yet they still don't have any money and you can't see where that money's going, like they're not coming home with, you're not getting a million things from eBay on, coming through the post. If there's some suspects on that sort of thing, then perhaps that might be another indicator to keep an eye on. If they have pocket money that you give them, but then the next day there's nothing, that again, as I said, get to know what normal is and then be observant about what's falling into the abnormal. So someone else has actually suggested once that you should be able to search their bedroom. Now, just like the drug test thing, there's an element of trust here. And if, I've always said to my boys, I will give you my trust, but if you break it, you're going to have to work friggin' hard to earn it again. And I think that goes both ways. So I've never been an advocate for sneaking into their bedrooms and poking around, because I think it's wrong, to be honest. However, I do have a policy where I have what's referred to as the thorough clean. The boys are responsible for the state of their bedrooms. They know every week that there's tasks that need to be done. How they keep their bedrooms is up to them, but they do know that once a month I go in there and I do a thorough clean. That's the garden rake, scraping whatever that is from underneath the bed out, removing the 30,000 coffee cups, and stuff like that. And that also has the benefits of being able to just keep an eye on what's going on or what might be going on in the bedroom. So you don't need to go in and invade privacy. There's other ways in which you can get a bit of an insight into it. So there's so much more I could say about if you suspect your child is taking drugs. So much more that I think I'm going to do this in a couple of parts. So basically, I want to thank that wonderful Talking Teens member for throwing that element of seriousness into what was a throwaway line. I hope that this has been able to give some people some ideas on what to do if you do suspect that your teen is doing any drugs, and that there are ways in which you can ascertain what's going on or get a clear idea about what's going on, or whether you need to be needing to have a more serious discussion. So on the topic of the more serious discussion, that'll be the next chapter. So yes, no, don't go ordering drug tests online. I was just joking, seriously just joking. Okay, but I hope that you have been able to grab some stuff out of here. I might write it up and pop it on the Talking Teens website of, just how you can see whether you feel, whether your teenager is doing drugs or not. Okay, thank you again. Mwah.